We are back, fresh off of one of the most insane weekends of football that I can remember. Definitely the most insane day yesterday of football. Those two divisional round games yesterday on Sunday were just absolute insanity. And so it's perfect timing. I'm super excited to be back. Had to take about a week away to take care of the dogs and take care of some stuff. Thank you guys for your patience, but very excited to be back. I think there's a lot that we can take away here and think about moving forward through the rest of the playoffs, but also for next year, for future best ball contests. I want to see your teams. And I'll maybe show you a couple of my teams, even though they're pretty much all dead. Hopefully you guys have some teams that are alive to ship some of these tournaments. We can get into all that here now. Best ball lessons, NFL playoff best ball edition. Let's do it. Yeah, so we are back. Happy Monday. Happy Monday, Shane. Happy Monday, Tony. It's a fun Monday. It almost feels like yesterday didn't even happen. That was so absolutely crazy. Both of those games. I mean, I can't imagine I can't imagine thinking after the Rams-Bucks game that we would get a better / crazier game to finish it up. But like we were talking in the Discord, that first game finishes obviously with the Bucks coming back in one of the most insane fashions we've ever seen. I found it interesting. People kept talking about the 28-3, the Brady Super Bowl 28-3 comeback. And that one was more impressive from Brady's standpoint. Not that this one wasn't impressive yesterday. It obviously was what the Bucks did, but it was like blunder after blunder by the Rams. It's like you couldn't dream up a situation where more insane shit happens to one team, right? Cam Akers is going in. First of all, McVay's running the ball with a few seconds left in the first half. But anyway, Akers is almost getting into the end zone. Fumbles at the 1. So they don't score a touchdown there, which probably would have ended the game. They missed a field goal, a 47-yard field goal short, which apparently we found out that Matt Gay is hurt and he's kicking field goals, and it didn't even have a chance. He had to snap over Stafford's head after they basically were just about to put the game away again, and the snap goes over Stafford's head, and then Akers fumbles again. They give up Jalen Ramsey, the arguably the best corner in the NFL, gives up the long touchdown. Like everything that could have possibly went wrong for the Rams goes wrong. And then Stafford and Kupp make two just absolutely insane plays to win the game, right? And so all that happens. And I felt the same way as Shane here. He says, for anybody listening on the audio, I figured somehow KC and Buffalo would disappoint. Not like we were all right. We were all hyped about that game going in. That's that was the game of the week. That's all everything else was just appetizers. And then we get that Bucks game, and you're like, after that, and after the like you said, like Shane says, I thought that game would disappoint because we had 3 crazy games. In particular, the one before it, but I mean, the Packers-Niners game was crazy in like a bad way. Like it was like a car wreck. It's awful, but you can't look away type of thing. And obviously, just a total disaster for the Packers. And the Bengals-Titans game was really good too, in different ways. But we get just the best weekend of football ever. And then you get the game of the year, the game we're all looking forward to, Chiefs Bills. And like Shane says, I just assumed that it was going to probably disappoint too, right? And it wasn't disappointing, but it was 7-7 late in the first half, kind of after the first couple drives, it was like a little not amazing. And then, as Shane said, Chiefs Bills went hold my beer in the second half, particularly in the last few minutes. And so I just can't imagine that we like have something like yesterday happened, like maybe ever again in my life. And as Nick said, we get one of the greatest sports quotes of all time, literally. Like that will be ingrained in my brain forever, and I'll probably want to use it like fairly frequently. If it's grim, if you missed this, by the way, go Google it or search on Twitter. Andy Reid says, "If it's grim, go be the Grim Reaper." Just legendary, absolutely legendary quote. As Rob says, the Falcons come back the pants. Rob, Patriots fan, the pants were all the way off. Rams come back, pants were only 7/8 off. I imagine so. As a Brady fan, it was not quite the same because it wasn't like, honestly, Tom wasn't exactly carving up the Rams. What did he throw for 230 or something like that? So anyway, what the point of all this is, we're all football fans. That was fun as hell. But it's kind of like, converting this over a little bit to like the best ball stuff is this stuff is so wild and so crazy, right? We go in, and I think I made a lot of mistakes in these playoff contests. And we can talk about that a little later. But it's also, there's just utter anarchy, right? You could never possibly have dreamed, like you couldn't write a movie script that, detailed the way the Rams would let the Bucks back into that game. It's a shit show. It's anarchy, right? And then between the Chiefs and the Bills on both sides made mistakes of just absolutely epic proportions and made awesome offensive plays. It was a little bit more of the awesome offense, but some serious blunders, really, really serious mistakes, mainly on the Bills side. And the Chiefs corners getting cooked up was pretty bad. But like all this is like just such a good reminder about how much chaos, how much variance, right? The Chiefs had the ball with 13 seconds left and had to go kick a field goal to tie the game to send it to overtime, then had to win the coin toss and go score a touchdown to win. And they did it, which was somehow, like we've forgotten about all the crazy stuff, not forgotten, you know what I mean? But it gets a little bit swept under the rug that like Josh Allen and Gabe Davis had the most insane 2 minutes like ever. And so all this chaos is like such a perfect example that like, we're trying to figure it out. There's not like a clear path to understanding the actual answer when we're going through the drafts, right? 3 weeks ago or whatever, 4 weeks ago, when we're drafting these playoff best ball teams, it's not like it's easy to figure this out. But I think it's still a great reminder that like we spend a lot of time like, should we take the Raiders in the last round? Should we take the Eagles in the last round? Should we do this? Should we do that? And like at the end of the day, this whole thing came down to, almost entirely, did you have Gabriel Davis on your team? Right? He certainly didn't hurt you in the first round, particularly like in mittens and stuff where, 33% of the field advanced because he's caught a touchdown, right? He scored 11 points or something like that. And then, had the game of the playoffs. And however, you needed Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes also at quarterback. And Josh Allen was so popular in the second round that like, and then put up another 40 spot, right? He has 80 fantasy points or whatever it is, 75, 80 fantasy points. And so, it'll be easy to overfit some of these results onto what we think we want to do next year. But what I think the real thing is like, if you there were plenty of ways to get to really good teams, and I'm interested, if you're in the Discord, post your teams. Now, honestly, really anywhere, I'll keep it up and go look. But if you're in the Discord and you have any teams that are It could be totally dead, right? You advanced like a bunch of Bills and Bucks guys or something. Well, but it could be the opposite. Like, what teams did you get through? Like, how did you get a team that's live through, right? Do you have a Mahomes team? And obviously, Gabe Davis is a huge piece as like maybe a secondary correlation or a one-off. But like the construction of those teams, if you want to post those in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, I post it on Twitter fairly frequently, but if you go to spikeweek.com and go to the header, you'll see Discord 100% free. Hundreds of crazy degenerate best ball players grinding out all these contests and tons of really, really fun conversation. So make sure you go and get in there. Like I totally would not recommend anything more, honestly. Like watching this stream, I appreciate you guys. Like and subscribe. Please hit that like button. I'm trying to be better about the self-promotion thing because I'm not very good at it. But the biggest thing I would recommend out of anything in all of best ball, more than listening to my dumbass talk, is in that Discord. It's absolutely incredible. So yeah, I like that. Good idea, Silas. Put it in the Underdog draft feedback channel. So it's going to be so easy to be like, and we do this all the time during regular draft season and during playoff draft season. It's so easy to try to fit the results to some narrative. And it often, I joke about it all the time, but it often becomes like, what if this guy is the guy you need to advance? And we just had the prime example of that happen, right? Gabriel Davis was the guy you needed to advance, and his team didn't win. If you didn't have Gabe Davis in this round, it's not a guarantee that you're dead, I guess, technically, but you're probably just pretty fucking dead. Like, I think your team is probably just dead. But how, like, understanding that, but like, no one would have picked out Gabriel Davis, right? We had tons of conversations, again, in the Discord about, like, you know, people will bring that up, right? Jonathan Taylor was actually the best conversation about it, where JT was going in the first round, right? Now, obviously, the Colts did not make the playoffs, but had they made the playoffs, that was a thing. Like, well, we don't think the Colts are going to make a run, but running back is really bad, and JT is clearly the best and highest upside running back. What if he puts up 30 or 40 in the first round, even if they lose, which I don't think it would likely happen if they lose, but you get the point. What if running back is really bad? He's the guy that scores 25 or 30 and you need him. That was like the case for taking JT in the first round. And I took a little bit of JT in the first round. But that was like really the only reason, right? The Colts were not winning the Super Bowl. Sorry for Colts fans. I know Jacob is a shout out to Jacob. Make sure I don't remember what Jacob's Twitter handle is. Sorry, Jacob. I would have shouted you out. But that was like the case for taking Jonathan Taylor's. What if he's the guy you need? The issue with that argument, and that's something that I think becomes more prevalent in these playoff contests. This is definitely one of the lessons learned. I think I have, and I'm very anti the what if he's the guy you need, but the Gabriel Davis being the guy that you needed is the perfect example of, we cannot predict who the guy you're gonna need, right? And so we just have to construct our teams about as best as possible. And I think there's a ton of different ways that we can do that. I came into this, and a lot of other people did as well. Smart people coming like, going to stack up on a couple of teams, maybe one other team, right? We talked about different constructions. 4-3-3, 5-3-2, blah, 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 right? All these different constructions. This year clearly showed you that there's a lot of alternatives to what we think are the clear and obvious strategies for these drafts, right? Because particularly, you wanted Chiefs and Bills. Now, we almost assuredly knew that the Chiefs and Bills were going to play in the second round, right? Assuming they both won, right? Which is, we felt fairly confident in. But we knew they were going to play. We basically knew they were going to play in the second round. And so if they're playing in the second round, obviously having them both on the same roster, playoff best ball roster, you're guaranteeing yourself that that team is not going to advance. However, they have the 2 highest upside quarterbacks. They have most of the highest upside pass catchers, and they have good running backs too. Now it ended up being Jerick McKinnon, but he's been a useful player too. I thought pour one out for Darrell Williams. My God, I felt so smart, which doesn't happen very often, by the way. I felt so smart, like the CEH injury thing, and Darrell was going to be the guy in the playoffs, right? This is Damian Williams. I just found the next Damian Williams. He was so cheap. I was just loading up on Darrell. I had like no CEH. And then it's fucking Jerick McKinnon just going nuts in the playoffs, of course. And now what if Jerick McKinnon is the guy you need? But anyway, I digress. And I just think the big lesson that I'm taking away that keeps sticking in my head is just like there's the winter Trey Sermon. That is such for anyone. We don't need to go into the Trey Sermon thing, but that is we had good conversations around that. I love that. Flea, great comment. But like, I really want to next year we'll like double back to this video or something. We'll definitely do more next year around these playoff contests because I mean they're going to be batshit insane next year. If you thought this year was crazy with like what all these mittens and drafters is launched, drafters filled their main tournament so quickly that they a smaller less volume website than Underdog. They filled their playoff contest so fast that they had to launch another one. And I believe it filled. DraftKings just throws out the worst, most ridiculous playoff best ball contest format of all time. All they did was to take their regular season one and just create contests for it. That filled so fast, even though you had to do 20 round playoff best ball drafts. DraftKings was just like, fuck it. We're just gonna run this out there. And the thirst for these playoff contests is so much that filled, and they launched another contest, even though people had to do 20 round drafts. Just absolutely. Yes, Tony, the king of DraftKings best ball says the DK playoff contest was garbage, and so that's how you know it was definitely garbage. But their contests were filling. Like that's just how crazy this playoff best ball stuff is. So that's why I think it's important that we talk about it. Like, and talking about it in the moment like this, I think is good. I think it's good too. We'll definitely talk about it next week because we'll be leading into the Super Bowl. I would love to get. I know I don't have any teams that can definitely win any of these tournaments, but I would love to just get a team through. I think I'm very Rams dependent on that. I don't even know what I was talking about now. We're just having fun. We're shooting the shit. Let me hit some of these. Yes, Jenks, thank you. Smash the like. Smash the like. Like I said, we're trying to do better. Self-promotion. Subscribe and like. I'm trying to get the YouTube channel booming. Actually going to be perfect lead into going to be even increasing the content on the YouTube channel. Got a bunch of people I'm working with. All you guys are super sharp, whether it's written content, social media, some streams and stuff. I'm very excited about some stuff we're going to be rolling out here very, very quickly. Let me hit some of these comments though. I agree. Just play the best plays. Silas says just pick the best plays. Easy game. Just pick Mahomes with what? Maybe Kelsey, McKinnon. Pringle's been pretty good. But did Gabe Davis. And then what on the other side? Probably can't get Cup with that. Odell's been all right? Cam Akers. He didn't have a good game this week, but if you took Cam Akers. If we just cherry pick all the best plays, I don't know why that's so hard. Hope says my best team left has Mahomes, Darrell, Kelsey, T. Higgins, George Kittle, and Byron Pringle. So you need Chiefs, 49ers. You need Chiefs, 49ers, and you'll have every position filled. It's just that you basically probably need running back not to matter. And like that's the crazy thing about that. I have no idea what to expect. I didn't advance that many teams, but when it, and most of them are dead. Like I said, I think I have a couple of teams that are even like remotely live, and they're not actually really live to win any of the tournaments, but they might be. Like I can fill every roster spot basically on some teams. I'm interested to see like this team to me, based on what I saw everybody post in the Discord, what I saw people post on Twitter, this team to me sounds like a freaking juggernaut. Like, and that's crazy. We're like, you basically don't have a running back. You don't have a running back. And like, you need, Byron Pringle. And frankly, George Kittle hasn't been good either. You need George Kittle or Byron Pringle to do something. And that assumes that Higgins and Higgins, who knows if Higgins is going to do, right? If we would have, gone back to when we were drafting and you said you had this team advance through, you'd be like, yeah, RIP to that team. That team sucks. But that might be one of the best teams in your group because so many teams are going to be dead. Like I'm fascinated, absolutely fascinated to see what happens with like what all the groups and stuff look like. Eric says, we're back on the Eric thing. Eric says, all my Bills teams are dead that got through, except for one team that I drafted on your stream where I took Jimmy G with the last pick. We'll post the Discord. Okay, once I get through some of these comments, I'll start pulling up some of these teams. But that is very funny. As they say, drafting with the idiot streamers is the most plus EV thing you can do in best ball. So I'm very happy to continue that trend for someone who is now banking on Jimmy G. Ethan, 90% of the advancing teams in my lobbies were Allen and Gabe stacks. That's what I'm saying. Josh Allen, Gabe Davis teams are like what got people through, right? Even Mike Evans smashed. Aaron Jones. I mean, I don't know what like Aaron Jones' advance rate is going to be, but Aaron Jones crushed. Fournette crushed. Like all these guys on these losing teams. Singletary was fine, right? Singletary helped you. There was all these guys on these losing teams that were AJ Brown. AJ Brown was awesome, right? Monster performance. And they're all dead, right? And then to compound that, like the 49ers advanced and did nothing. They had talk about the usable weeks. They didn't have a single player with like what we would call a usable week. Trust me, I finished third. So the big mitten in the second round is 6. I had one. I drafted 2 big mitten teams. One of them got through, and it was an Allen Gabe team, but there was 2 other. So there's 3 of the 6 teams had Allen, Gabe Davis stacks. So that was freaking painful. But then like one of my secondary correlations was 49ers. It's like if obviously I had the Bills, but I'm thinking I had Rams, like I believe Odell, I had Rams and 49ers secondary stacks with a Bills main stack was my big mitten team. And I'm sitting like feeling really, really good heading into the Bills game, obviously if the Bills win. But alas, I finished third. Yeah, this is true. I posted about this on Twitter. We'll definitely get into this here in this. I wanted we might do a freaking whole show on the Bills in this offseason because I posted about it on Twitter and I think they're like the most fascinating team. So I don't want to elaborate too much on this, but Tony says, I don't know how I'm going to get any Bills next year because I'm going to be lower on Diggs and probably not high enough on Gabe. And you might not be high enough on Singletary, and you'll almost assuredly not be high enough on Josh Allen because he's going to go really high. But they are a fascinating team to think about for next year. Hope says, I have a great mitten returns team with Mahomes, Akers, Tyreek, Debo, Kittle, Hardman, good Lord, Van Jefferson, and Demarcus Robinson. But I messed up not getting any Chiefs running back. I mean, if the Rams win, who cares? You got Cam Akers. That's a monster. That's a monster. Absolute monster. Harps, shout out Harps. Harps says, in every single one of my gauntlets I advanced, all Stafford teams. That's nice. The other two guys who advanced had Josh Allen. Wild. That's interesting. That's interesting. Are any of those Stafford teams, like super live? Because that's how you advanced without basically not without the Bills, because like I said, Gabe, but that's how you advanced a team that's really live is Stafford, right? Because he did enough. He did enough to get you there in both rounds. As long as you really needed like the nuts around him to get there because of what Mahomes and Josh Allen did, but you could get there with Stafford. And so now you want to talk about galbraining this shit is like the live teams, right? Are like gotta be like mostly Stafford, right? Because so many Allen teams crushed. I'm thinking that now like Stafford is going to be the like kind of chalky guy, not for this round, for this next round. Josh Allen's still going to be probably the chalkiest quarterback, but for like the Super Bowl teams that will get through that are alive to win have to be Stafford teams. I think that's my guess. David says, do you think that Gabe Davis shows the viability of the 4-2-2-1-1 build with the one-offs being upside players? Yeah, 100%. I think that's and not just 4-2-2-1-1, but also 4-2-2-2, and you can be okay. So even if you went 4-2-2-2, even if your 4 is against one of your 2s, that can be okay because you still have 2 other pairs from the opposing conference. And like you said, I have 2, right? If you had a Mahomes, let's just say Mahomes Chiefs stack as your 4, and then you had Gabe Davis and Dawson Knox, right? Gabe Davis, Dawson Knox, Chiefs stack, and then you had 2 49ers and 2 Rams. Like that's literally like the nuts because you would have just crushed, right? Now, obviously, you have to get the right kind of combinations of players, but also this 4-2-1, this kind of stuff is, I think, like the next level of all this playoff best ball stuff that we're talking about. Everybody wants to, myself included, wants to talk about, all these exact constructions I want to do and correlations and blah, blah, blah. There's so many more, like there's less constructions, as crazy as it sounds to me, in the regular season best ball contests than there are in these contests. You can do a lot of different, as long as your lineup gives you a path, right? And a lot of people's path was the Bills, and that got blown up. But like, had the Bills won, we would be having a very different conversation today. But as long as you have a path, particularly if it gives you some kind of uniqueness, drink for using the code word. Particularly, if you are able to, like you said, build in the leverage, build in the upside to get you there while still having that scenario, that story of the Super Bowl. Like that's the way to do it. And we don't have to be so rigid. Right. And I think particularly when we first started drafting, I was fairly rigid. I really started to open up, talking to you guys again in the Discord, talking to other people, seeing other people's drafts, all that kind of stuff. Like, I think there's just like a million different ways to slice and dice these best ball contests. And I think that ultimately that's like kind of my biggest takeaway, really, is like a synopsis of basically what David said. 20 rounds, and I still couldn't get Lundar says 20 rounds, and I still couldn't get a decent roster into the next round on DK. Let's start there. Let me start with pulling up. All right, I should have had this. Harbs asked, did you advance some gauntlets? Yes. Let me share my screen. Live best ball. So I had we can just run through some of these really quick. In the wild card, 0 had six teams. I think the wild card was my worst. Yeah, the wild card was my worst advance rate, and then I got 6 teams through, and none of them advanced. We had one third place team here, and all just awful. Damian Harris, no Gabe Davis. Look at that. We got Vikings. Got the Vikings and Patriots. Awful. But so here was the big mitten. I'll just show that really quickly because you see here, this guy had the Allen Gabe Davis. He obviously advanced, and he had Aaron Jones, Devontae with Debo and Kittle. Najee, that's interesting, but he's dead. Lemmings had almost the same, very, very similar team, and then my team had Allen, Singletary, Diggs, Gabe with NFC guys, and I had Mitchell. I thought I had Rams on here, so I apologize. I'm wrong. I went with one-off Mitchell. No, I went Mitchell, Kittle, Kirk Ertz, and then a one-off Cedric Wilson. So, I was basically clinging to that one because I kind of knew how things were going in the gauntlet and such. So anyway, let's pull up the gauntlet. So I got a few teams through. 4 teams here through in the gauntlet. We can pull them. I'm pretty sure I looked at them earlier today. All dead. So one Allen Stafford team. Obviously, Allen has carried that. Why did I take Stafford? I'm actually honestly not sure. But I mean, to get Allen, Stafford, Kupp, and Diggs with Singletary and Eli Mitchell, RIP to Amari. Obviously had Gabe on that team, but it has, so obviously the issue is I don't have any Chiefs or any Bengals on this team, but it does have Stafford, Sony, Mitchell, Kupp, Odell going in the next round. So not dead to advance to the finals, but definitely dead to win anything in the tournament. Another Josh Allen team, early gauntlet team here, obviously. Early gauntlet team with, let me zoom in a little bit, sorry. Like I said, early gauntlet team with drafting Dalvin, Jefferson, had CD on there, Mike Evans. So obviously an Allen Siri. Every time I say CD, my Siri on my laptop pops up. It's kind of funny. Anyway, obviously this team is stone dead. Does it even have a player? No, 0. So there's a great example. This team will advance with 0 players into the next round. Crazy. Also kind of funny to advance a Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson team from very early on. Next one. So yeah, I had 15 teams and got 4 through to the next round. But same thing here. Josh Allen, Singletary, Aaron Jones. And so Bills, Rams, Packers, Bucks. Bills, Rams, Packers, Bucks. And dead. But how can you complain about this? It's like if the Bills win, if Bills, you got you either had Aaron Jones, it's some combination of assuming you're trying to get the Bills through to the Super Bowl, right? Bills with Kupp, Aaron Jones, Odell, double, a triple Bills stack. You have the ancillary Bucks guys. Obviously, they sucked, but what can you do? That team was pretty fun, but dead, of course. And then went with I was trying to mix in some. We talked about from the same conference thing, get me some teams playing each other in the same conference, and then bet on something in the opposite. Bet on something in kind of the opposite conference. So that's what you see here with some 49ers and Bucks action with stacks of the other side. Right, so you were getting either Mitchell or Derrick Henry through, or Singletary actually, and then you have AJ Brown with Tannehill. So anyway, I actually don't think this team is perfectly constructed, but also funny. Again, 0 advancing. Yeah, no, Eli Mitchell, and George Kittle. Right, so advancing two total players. So as you see, 4 gauntlet teams for me. And they all suck. They are all dead. Let's pull up a couple comments. Flea says, what if it's a Cincinnati and San Francisco Super Bowl? How many teams would still be alive then? Not many. Not many. Because people weren't. We talked about that probably in mostly just the week or two leading up to when the playoffs started, that, people were not building in. The Bengals finally got pricey enough that there might be a few more than maybe expected. But the problem was, again, if you have 5 players from those 2 teams, they didn't do enough in the playoffs to help you, right? So you needed to have Gabe and Aaron Jones and Lenny and you needed to have Mike Evans. You needed to have these monster performances because the quarterbacks definitely didn't do enough. Did you have Josh Allen, I guess, with one of them? It's I don't know how you thread that needle on the combination of those two teams. So it's very, 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 very difficult. Harps says, my best team is Stafford, Mixon. So I can start getting these teams pulled up. My best team is Stafford, Mixon, Akers, Kupp, Odell, Chase, Van, with 3 Bills that are not playing. So Stafford to Kupp, Akers, Odell, Van, with Mixon. So you are very live. Obviously need the Bengals to win, which is the 49ers own the Rams so much. I guess the Rams might even be a little bit of a tough ask here. But in terms of liveness, this is a monstrously live team. If this team gets Rams Bengals through to the championship, you are the favorite. Probably, unless other people have the same combination, the favorite. For sure one of the favorites, maybe the favorite. Eric says, all my Bills teams are dead that got through except for one gauntlet team that I drafted. Oh, shit. I pulled up that comment already. Eric, mind meld. Shane needs Rams Bengals Super Bowl. That makes sense to me. Silas has this gauntlet team that literally has 0 players. Join the club. Matt says, in the mitten returns, I went with 50% Lenny and 44% Gabe. Next week is going to hurt. Yep. Advance rate. You got your advance rate. If you can post on Twitter about your advance rate this week, And that'll, that's people love that, right? People love the advance rates, even though our goal is to win these tournaments. No, this is not shade at you, Matt. Sorry. But like people love the advance rate thing, even though it's like you advanced to the semifinals, like you like tripled your money. And did you triple your money? I don't know. Like the goal is to win the tournament. That's why I like them. My teams suck. They're all dead. So like, what can I do? Hope, I'll get you. I'll get you hooked up here in a second. I can post a link in the chat here in just a second. So also, if you are watching this and you're not watching this live, but you are watching this after the fact, there is a link to the Discord. Sorry, I know I'm behind on the comments, but there is a link to the Discord in the chat. Matt says, these YouTube videos got me into best ball. Shout out to you, Matt. Thank you for watching. So glad I discovered it, and I cashed 43% of my mitten returns. Jesus, 43%. That is good. Shout out to you. Hope says I got through 21 of 46. 21 of 46. Wow. Mitten 2 and 3 teams. Love the game theory and have been to DFS for a couple seasons. Awesome stuff. 21 of 46. That's very good. That's very impressive. Hope says I've been thinking about the exact same thing of trying to build a same conference championship stack. Yeah, this is with a 4-2-2-2 because then you get 2 pairs, right, of the other conference. You're making bets on something playing out. And it doesn't have to be like the most plus EV or the most, I guess I don't want to say most plus EV. It doesn't have to be the most, the cleanest path, right? That's in like DFS and even honestly in regular season best ball. The cleanest path is actually typically the best thing that we can do. But in these playoff contests, that was something I was building, like cleanest path lineups, cleanest path teams when we first started. It was like, okay, I'm just going to 4-2-2-2 this with 4 Bills and 3 pairs of 2 from the other conference, or 4-3-3 or whatever, right? Building the cleanest path thing. And I think that's not, the cleanest. There is not going to be, unless like the chalk plays out, there's probably not going to be a clean path to first. And so constructing around the anarchy for a very specific low probability path, which is what we just saw play, right? This is what the playoffs that have played out here is a very crazy hyper specific low probability scenario is what has just happened. So how, I don't think that there's necessarily like specific takeaways like, oh, we should have drafted Stafford and Gabe Davis and blah, blah, blah. I don't think that that's the thing, but I think that the takeaway is building for hyper specific, low probability outcomes. And like, that means a lot of different things, right? That isn't really like the world's greatest advice. It is, but like, however you're taking that on a specific team. And this is one very good example that Hope brings up. Yeah, Harps says, I hope that team that you have 0 players advancing is in my group. I'm sure everybody does. I got a bunch of dead teams, and you want them all in your groups because my teams suck. Let's see. Trying to hit some of these. Yeah, Hope says to Harps, that team is nuts. Harps, that team is nuts. One time is for sure. What percentage, Jinx asks, what percentage of teams advancing have 0 players alive? Like, probably a lot more than you would think. Which is just the Chiefs, the Super Bowl favorite, right? The Super Bowl favorite, despite not having a bye, the best team in the NFL, the Chiefs, advanced to the conference championship. They're definitely now the Super Bowl favorite. 2 of the chalkier, like underdog upset type picks. Bengals, 49ers advanced to the conference championship. And then the Rams were like, other than Cooper Kupp, the Rams were all like extremely affordable in these drafts. And so like how this played out isn't that crazy. And yet just the way the scoring happened, it's like impossible to get a team through that, like Harps' team. It's like that is like so rare. Let me see. All right, you got in there, Hope. Thank you. Yeah. Rob says he was waiting for the Dogs' appearance. They made it. They're doing much better now. The one guy is my wife describes it as she said it. He looks like the guy from oh my gosh, what's the movie now? I'm forgetting, but he looks like Rufio. He's a black dog. They're shepherd huskies, so they have a lot of thick fur, but they had to shave a lot of his head and stuff to fix him up to help get him better. And so he like has like it almost looks like a dog. Like he looks like Rufio. I mean, he looks like Rufio. So we might have to change Hook. Thank you guys. Hook, exactly. But that's what he looks like, Rufio. His name is Taz, but we're gonna have to change his name to Rufio, I think, because that's what he looks like now. He looks ridiculous. But doing better, as you can see, with the playing around and barking back in the show. King says, I agree, but advance rate is helpful with the room variance. Definitely. I like to like make jokes and stuff about advance rate, but it's not actually like really serious. I think advance rate is part of the game. In order to win, you have to continue advancing 100%. It's just the end goal is not to advance the most teams. The end goal is to win first place. If you go back, if you are subscribed, like and subscribe. If you are subscribed, or if you have watched a few weeks ago when I did the Wednesday show with Liam, who won Best Ball Mania this year for $1 million on Underdog Fantasy, promo code Spike. He had a terrible advance rate. Shout out Liam. Liam is brilliant and a great. Follow him at Chess Liam on Twitter. He's awesome. Also, probably could use some follows and some positive vibes because he's a diehard Bills fan. Also, his Bills stack won him $1 million. So, how sad can you really be, honestly? But his advance rate was not very good. Actually, he was underweight on all the league winners. But he just constructed teams in a really great way that allowed him to have the upside to win $1 million playing best ball. Gabe Davis broke the tournament. Gabe Davis knifed my David says Gabe Davis knifed my advance rate right in the heart. I agree. All right, let me hit a couple before we get out of here. Let me hit a couple of Discord teams here. Silas has Josh Allen. I don't remember what we were talking. So you have to apologize or bear with me because I don't remember what we were talking about when we first started getting these posted in here. But Josh Allen team, Big Dog, Singletary, Akers, Kupp, Odell. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Super. God, the Bills. I am interested in what you guys think about this because I've been thinking about this a lot. If the Bills had won, can you imagine what the next round would look like? I mean, just crazy. The Bills chalk would be so absolutely outrageous. It'd be so hard to differentiate yourself in the next round. If the Bills had won. Shane has a team. Oh, here we go. So Stafford, Mixon, Akers, Kupp, T, Odell. Yeah. Okay. Stafford, Akers, Kupp, Odell with Mixon, T. Higgins bringbacks. Super live. Same thing. You and Harbs are rooting for the same thing here. Lundar has hold on. What did you say? At least have enough guys to fill each position, which is better than all my teams. So shout out to you. Burrow, Mixon, Sony, Cup, T, and Vane. Yeah. See, like, I would be super excited. I would be super excited about any team that can actually fill out all the positions. Which is like I said, I just never would have thought that that's where we would be with this. Chase has a okay, hold on. God damn it, Chase. This screenshot is horrible. There's do you see this right here? Can you see my mouse? Just use this button, bud. Come on. We're better than this. This is the Jimmy G team. This is Jimmy G team. Okay. Jimmy G, Mitchell and CEH, Tyreek, Kittle, Ayuk. Good luck rooting for Jimmy G when Mahomes and Burrow are playing on the other side and Stafford is there. That's going to be a fun sweat. That's the Harps. I assume this is the Harps team. Yeah. Just a smash, an absolute smash. Mark's got a good one. Stafford, Darrell, Mitchell, Cup, Kelsey, Odell, Van. Good Lord. Oh my gosh. Rams, Chiefs. I haven't heard many of the Rams, Chiefs, right? A Rams stack with a Kelsey, Darrell bring back. Mitchell can help you get there to the Super Bowl, right? Wow. Really good team. Ant's got, oh my goodness. Has both Mahomes and Stafford. CEH, Mitchell, and Mixon. And you have Tyreek, Odell, and Pringle. So you can still fill out wide receiver. Smash. What a smash. Amazing. How did this team get through, by the way? Crazy. Absolute smash. Yeah. David says, how did Mark get that team? How did you get Cup, Kelsey? Awesome team. Good luck. Yeah. I expect a ghost show about all your best ball teams, Rob. This was great. Super. Yeah. Here is Mark. Shout out to Mark. Also a brilliant NBA guy. If you like to play NBA best ball, love talking to Mark about NBA best ball. He's in the Discord posting and NBA stuff. But he was at the turn. Says he was at the turn and got a Cup Kelsey team. Turned it into a Stafford stack and a monster squad. Like a monster. Super live squad. But this was a ton of fun. Super happy to be back. Thank you guys, as always, for hanging out. Starting next week, be cranking out some more new shows, but for now, we're sticking back to the Monday, Wednesday, Friday schedule. So we'll be back Wednesday with Best Ball Bros to chop it up, hang out with another guy from around the best ball space. If you haven't watched the first couple of episodes, we've already done one, like I said, mentioned earlier, with Liam at Chess Liam on Twitter, the winner of Best Ball Mania 2 for $1 million. And then also high school buddy of mine, Tony Castro, winner of the DraftKings Millie Maker. Can find those here if you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. You can go back and watch those, and we'll have another one on Wednesday with a guest that's soon to be announced. Thank you guys for hanging out. Had a ton of fun. Like I said, happy to be back, and I will see you guys on Wednesday.